All right. Hey guys, back in Cincinnati again. Got full charge and my mic on, so starting to learn some lessons. It is getting late for me anyway. I'm tired, but I had a minute and I thought, well, let's keep this train rolling. Let's try to do day 4. And I was actually I went back and tried to look a little bit of day 3 to, and if you hear some strange noises, there are all kinds of crazy people in the hall jumping up and down. I was trying to get my bearings on day 3 where I was at, and I noticed I rambled a lot. So apologize for that. It's part of who I am, I guess. We'll have to suffer through that together. Also got a comment, and I actually looked at it. I was going to shout out the name, but I can't. I guess I could spell it out. It's CHU something, but told me that audio was good enough, and that I had mentioned that. So I appreciate you listening, and I appreciate you commenting. I really, it helps a lot to know that somebody is listening to this and maybe getting something out of it. And then I noticed went up a couple of subscribers, so somehow or another, other people are finding it and clicking on it. So I, I'm kind of liking this because what I feel like it's doing is kind of letting me get this out of me, and same time, I think you guys will empathize with it somehow in your own way, that we're just all living our lives and that all of us have some kind of weird past, and you just get to hear about mine. Um, Give Liquid Death another uh, shout out today. I think I was last time I had a strawberry one. It was really good. This is a cream soda one. It's good. Always got to be drinking something. And then something interesting. Since the last time I talked to you guys, I started carnivore diet. That stuff. It's not that I mean, I like the food part, but much as I travel and trying to order that, that's crazy. Uh, like tonight, um, I ordered a burger and I just wanted the burger, and I was very clear about it. First time they brought it out, it was the whole thing with cheese and lettuce, and I'm like, sorry guys, I just want the burger. And I would have just took it apart and ate it myself, but the cheese was already melted on it. So I asked them to take it back and just give me a burger, and they came back with a bun with a burger. Like, okay, here, I'll take it apart. Anyway, it's not the point of the video. Just thought that was a little comedic. Um, Drove up today, bad traffic. It's probably why I'm so tired. It zaps you. Let's see. All right, so let's try to talk a little bit about the content. Got I remember talking about how awkward I was in middle school and didn't really have a clique, overweight, acne, the whole nine. Um, and I remember going back and forth, diving back into elementary a little bit, but I can imagine that was pretty much the extent of my middle school. A lot of it, excuse me, a lot of anything else about it would just be similar. Like, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking like we would go to the swimming pool. That was one of our activities during the summer. And, that event just not being pleasant at all for me. Uh, being overweight and all that. Also, one of the has nothing to do with being overweight or any of that, but one of the events of the swimming pool, I remember I remember, I guess, being in the deep end or up to, fairly deep. And that was purely unintentional, luckily. But, I mean, still hurt. This girl took off to swim, and when her foot kicked right into my crotch, got me good. And I remember just, that if you're a dude, you know that reaction you have. I went down and sucked all that water right up in me, and then it was like I was drowning trying to get out of the pool. That was a horrible event. But, just in a nutshell, all the events just weren't, school was not a highlight. Other than, the certain classes that I done well in. I liked, it was like a shop class. Made a few things that still have today at the house and mom and dad's house. And I always fairly, I want to say, liked math. I'd say most of the math classes I liked. I was kind of good at it, and felt like it something I could, you know, use eventually. I think I mentioned I was in like advanced math and English. The English I never got. I never got why I was good at it. I never fundamentally understood how someone would benefit from being good at English and literature. I guess I guess reflecting, maybe it has been beneficial to me because I can't speak too fluently, too great, and I've got a bad accent and get hung up on the uhs a lot, depending on the nature of my speech. I have given speeches in, major audiences, and I'm very articulate when I'm call it angry or perturbed. But I'm probably known, and it's suited me well over those years for like being very, very articulate when I write, like in the emails and whatnot. And that's probably served me well. So maybe in a weird way that sunk in and helped me. I just didn't at the time understand, like, so what I can read fast, or really what I could do is read partial things like beginning, middle, end, or just the synopsis, and I could fill in the gaps and always write an essay or give a understanding of something without a lot of effort, and it was, I guess, good enough to be recognized for. Math, I had to actually do the work, but I was good at doing the work as long as it made sense to me. I, did it anyway. So that's mainly like the school. Um, Trying to think of extracurricular things that would have been happening. I already talked about the football. Did baseball pretty well my whole youth. Not through the school, but like all the youth league stuff, probably up to around that age. I did mention Taekwondo. Did that, and I kind of enjoyed that one. I don't remember. I think it was later. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it would have been later. So I'll just save that. I'm trying to think of the family dichotomy and the things that were going on in that age range. Um, all my grandparents would have been still alive, I think. Both sets, my mom and dad, or mom's side and my dad's side. So we would, maybe this would be the extent of this video. I think it's something we need to hear, and like I think about this kind of stuff all the time. Like back then, it was normal to go. I mean, I'm not going to say I liked it all the time, but it would be normal to go with my mom after school or on the weekend to her mom and dad's and just hang out all day. And it wouldn't just be us; it would be her sisters and their kids, or it's almost like the equivalent today is a family. You have to have a family reunion to even have that kind of interaction. Back then, it was multiple times a week. It felt like, whether it was going to my mom's side or my dad's side, it was just normal to go be around your family, or they would come to us. Especially like my dad's dad, he would always be up where we lived, because doing cattle, and I guess at some point we need to go into more detail on that. But we had cattle, and that'd be during the summer. There'd be hay to put up and fence work and all that. And I'm not going to claim that I ever was a great help, but I did. My dad, was very adamant that there's work to be done. You're out there doing it. And I did it. I'm more of a thorough hard worker now because of it. I wish I wasn't so. I don't call it hateful, but kind of despised it then. And there was kind of a reason, a partial reason, at least for the hay. I was extremely allergic to stuff. Man, it's like every time I bring something else into play, there's more that comes with it. But stick with the hay for a minute. I get out there and do that, and I just swell up and welk and cough, and I get to word wheezing, but I'd have to finish the job, and then I'd suffer for the next day or two, and finally get over it. But speaking of allergies, in that part of my life, I felt like I was allergic to everything. I was really allergic to pet dander, especially like dogs, and still is back then, still this day, allergic to cats. If you get that scent, dust mites, all this stuff, stuff is just around you all the time. And back then, constant, just sinus problem, constant throat problems, and probably, I don't know if it was the stress of it, probably played in the acne part. And yeah, this sucked. Be frank about it, it sucked. Um, I love dogs. I had dogs growing up. Let me just try it right now. I was going to say at some point I'll do it. Let's do it. I had, my earliest dog that I remember, Sam. It was I don't know exactly the right, just a big dog, maybe probably mutt. It's Sam and Lady, Bear. Um, None of those were like mine. Then we had Sally. That was kind of the first border collie type dog we ever had, and I really, really liked that dog. And that would be of age. I was probably in elementary when that happened, but got ran over by a dog, or ran over by a car. Didn't kill it immediately, broke its back, and it, pulled itself on its front legs. Just that experience, man. Uh, it's traumatizing for a kid. You love your animals. Um, so that one, and then the next one was Happy. Was the name of that dog, and it was another border collie dog, and that was my dog. That was like 100% my dog, and it was that went into my teen years, and I loved that dog, but it got into something poisonous and found it floating in the creek. Uh, wasn't I don't know that I'll get back on this kick, so I'm just gonna keep going on my dogs. No, not. I guess it'll be kind of out of order, but you guys forgive me and comment. Like if tell me, like, do you want me to try to stay succinct through this, because it's really tough. And I think if I'm going to do that, I'm going to have to like write a script and be more da 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 versus I kind of like this approach, being natural, and I know where I'm heading. Like we got a long ways to go, good and bad. And right now I'm on a tangent of good. Um, but it's hard to like do the dog chunk here and then go on to the next phase of my life and remember to do the dog chunk then. So finish the dog chunk out here. So that Happy. And then after that, my mom it was like a stray. Uh, I named it Biscuit. It was a mutt mutt dog. Had a really severe underbite. A good little dog, just again, you can't help but fall in love with animals. But it wasn't like my dog. But it was one of them that would run away, and then somebody would find it and we'd get it back and run away, and that went on for years and years. My first um in my own home dog was my daughter's first dog, Australian Shepherd, Sammy, the longest living dog I ever had, and the only dog I've ever had that's, died basically of old age. And I, there'll be, there'll be a lot of talk about my emotions over the years and how I can or cannot have them for certain reasons, but that one, that one broke me. That broke me to my core. That dog was that that was a deep connection that I had with that dog, and you know, you'll that one when we get to those stories. I think it'll make sense because that dog was around for a lot, good and bad, and it was always there for me. That was a good dog. And right now, let's finish him out. Um, when Sammy died, I didn't know. I didn't know if I could do another dog or not, but come across some more Australian Shepherd puppies, and one vaguely different, but had the look similar to Sammy, and I thought, well, go check it out. My and so I went after that one. It wasn't vibing, and I felt like it was a forced. It was going to be a forced thing. Um, but then there was this little black one, like the runt of the litter, that was hiding under the porch and wouldn't socialize with other dogs. And that guy brought him out, and it was immediate connection with that little dog. And so got him, named him Buddy, and just a lovable dog. I mean, good natured, good with good with a hunter. There ain't nothing that dog does wrong. Doesn't, you know, isn't needy, isn't never use the bathroom, and just one of them lucky you get lucky with. And then like a year later, this was my wife's doing, by the way. And we'll blame more on her later. But, we got the bright idea that having a second dog at the same time would be good to keep Buddy company because I travel so much. And more to it than that. But anyway, found this other Australian Shepherd puppy, went after and took Buddy with us. Went after one, I had one picked out, but there was another one, and when we were out there, that other one just like followed Buddy around, kept on. I'm thinking, well, and Buddy didn't. Buddy's funny. Like I said, Buddy gets along with everybody. Buddy, he shied away from all that. But that one just kept on, just so interested with Buddy, and that's the one we got and named him. He was named already Bear, but then we renamed him Brother Bear. So that's the two we have right now. We got Buddy and Brother, and Brother is a anxiety, territorial crackhead for. I mean, he's so full of energy. Kind of reminds me of Sammy in a way. Does not like other animals other than Buddy. He loves Buddy to death, but doesn't love. You can't take him for walks. Your Buddy, you can walk him around. It's fun. All right, so I got through the dog stuff, and I'm sure it'll get interjected along the way as it's relevant. But so back to that age range. So allergies got me on that kick. All right, that helps. I need a little script to keep me somewhere. So I actually had to do the whole allergy testing. I don't know if others have had to do that, but basically you lay on your stomach and they just stick you back full of all kinds of needles, and then they tell you that you're allergic to X and Y and Z and what to do about it, and take this pill and take that pill. And God, I remember that just being torture for, that was my after school adventures. And then to kind of round it out, still my buddy Nick, still, as much as could be around him. But a lot of what we did was just work. Like we'd eat, mow, and cut trees and whatever. But to round all that out, I did really like video games. And that would have been a big part of my life then. I don't know when exactly I got it, but I had a regular Nintendo, like the Super Mario Brothers, the first Nintendo, and then got a Sega Genesis, and then and I'll talk more about this in later videos. But my dad had built a playhouse. It was attached to the barn, which is basically like it was probably like a 8x10 room. And man, that is so much. We used that for so much. When I was little, we used it for like the community hangout. It was kind of cool because it was up off the ground, and then there was like a log bridge that went over the creek. It went up into the playhouse, but the playhouse itself was just like a 8x10 room, couple of windows, a real door. I didn't have a bathroom, but other than that, it was a room. So me and my buddy Nick and others, once it quit being like the community play thing and turned into, where to hang out, had a couple of cots set up in it on each side, a heater, a couple of end tables to have a lamp on, and our comic books or whatever we had. And then I had the Sega Genesis and my TV out there, and it's still got this TV this day. It's an old RCA. I don't know what the screen's like 10, 13 inch screen, something like that. A little small, but it's color. Played our games on it. Spent many nights out there. So, video games. In between all the other crap. Alright, so let's see. I'd say that's a good stopping point. It gets us kind of through the majority of the middle school-y type stuff. That'll give me the ability, if I come back and look here, to kind of start around kind of going into high school, and that still somewhat awkward phase, but then things start changing, and my whole life's been a roller coaster, but I assume people from like that age to 20, it's very fragile emotions and whatnot. So we'll come back to kind of coming into high school, picking up there, and what is that? Right, 14, 15 years old. So before I got my license, but kind of that generic time frame. And I think that be a good place to start. That gets into some of the beginnings of the what I think is going to take a long time to get through in terms of who I was. So, all right, I'm going to do this. I think I ask along the way, but I really appreciate any comments. But if you like kind of the randomness I'm doing, I'm trying to structure it a little, or if you'd rather me try to write a script, I just want to be real and get through it all. Because I'm afraid if I don't tangent, sometimes I'm gonna like leave something completely out. So I think I'm gonna have to do a few jukes and drives along the way. But again, so like, subscribe, share, help get this out. I've been trying to do I did a short a little earlier while I was working out and I was sweaty, and I just put some music on, and then I linked the other Who I Was video to it. So I'll get this one posted, and then I'll do a few of them shorts and link to this. I give me some suggestions there. If there's a way to make the shorts make people want to come watch these, or like, I don't know how to summarize it other than we're on a journey, right? So the whole premise behind this journey to freedom, it's going to take a while to go through who I was. It'll take a while to go through who I am, because there's quite a bit going on right now, and then who I want to be. I think by that time we'll be formulating a plan together and all that. So, but so any suggestions appreciated. And again, socialize it the best you can, because that's all I got. All right, thanks guys. Have a good night. Try to get another one out to you soon. Oh, and I may try to do another one this week if possible, but not. I'll be in Pittsburgh next week, and we'll see if I can do one from there. It's kind of funny how I'm jumping all over the place right now. I don't even know if I've told you where I live, but I've definitely been all over the country and out of the country here lately. Guys, have a good night.